Okay, I want you to, just for a second, close your eyes.
Okay.
And picture your sanctuary. You know the place I'm talking about, right?
The decompression chamber.
Exactly. It's like 8:00 p.m. on a Tuesday. The door is locked. The world is just gone. You're in your absolute ugliest, most comfortable sweatpants.
The ones with the hole in the knee, for sure.
And you're watching that show you'd never, ever admit to anyone that you watch. You are, completely unmasked.
It's that sacred space where the performance of just being a person finally stops. We all need that.
We do. Now, imagine a renovation project, not like a let's paint the walls project. I'm talking a full-on structural catastrophe where you come home expecting that sanctuary. And there is a literal gaping hole in your wall. And through that hole, you are staring directly into your neighbor's living room.
Oh, no.
And the kicker is they're staring right back.
That's not a renovation. That is a privacy nightmare. That's the premise of a horror movie, not a comedy.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But in the world of Japanese pop culture, that specific nightmare is actually the launch pad for what is shaping up to be one of the most chaotic romantic comedies of 2026.
We love it already.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into the upcoming anime adaptation of Pardon the Intrusion, I'm Home.
That title really does say it all, doesn't it? We're looking at a show that takes the whole concept of boundaries, physical, emotional, all of it, and just detonates them for laughs.
And we have a huge stack of sources today. We're looking at all the production announcements, some casting news that's really blurring the lines between industries, and of course the original manga by Watamura.
So our mission today is basically to figure out if this is just another wacky premise show.
Right.
Or if there's something, deeper here about the double lives we all kind of live.
And we should probably get the date out of the way right up front.
Good idea.
If you are the type of person who needs to be ahead of the curve, you need to mark April 7th, 2026 on your calendar.
April 7th. That's when the walls come down. Got it. Okay, but before we get to the architectural disaster, let's talk about the person standing in the middle of it all. Let's talk about Rinko.
Yes, Rinko.
Because looking at the early character designs and the descriptions, she seems, painfully normal.
And that is the whole trick, isn't it? On the surface,
Yep.
Rinko's 24. She's got a standard office job. She keeps her head down.
The work self.
Totally. If you met her by the coffee machine, you'd think, oh, she's professional, she's composed. Probably goes home and listens to classical music.
Right, waters her ferns or something. We all have that persona. The voice gets a little lower, you use bigger words, you stand up straighter.
But here is where it gets really interesting. Rinko isn't just normal. She is actively building a facade. The sources describe her calm existence as a carefully constructed lie. Because underneath that professional blazer, she is a full-blown, hardcore otaku.
And hardcore is the really important word there. I think we need to pause on that for a second.
Yeah.
Because in the West, otaku often just gets translated to nerd or geek. And let's be honest, being a nerd is kind of chic now.
Oh, for sure. Tech billionaires wear superhero t-shirts to board meetings.
Exactly. But in the context of this story, and especially in the nuances of Japanese office culture, being an otaku can still carry a real stigma.
It implies obsession, not just a hobby.
It implies your focus is off. You're not focused on your career, you're not trying to find a partner, maybe you're socially awkward. It's seen as a distraction from what you're supposed to be doing.
So for Rinko, keeping the secret isn't just a preference, it's like a professional survival strategy.
It connects right back to that idea we've talked about before, Han and Taipei.
The public face and the true self.
Precisely. Taipei is the mask you show the world. Han is who you really are. And Rinko's gap between those two is like the size of the Grand Canyon.
So her apartment isn't just a place to live, it's a vault. It's where she keeps the real Rinko safe.
Agent Rinko by day, otaku Rinko by night.
Which makes what happens next so much worse. It's not just a leaky faucet. The universe basically decides to kick in the door of her vault.
Let's get into that renovation gone wrong.
It's so absurd.
The source material calls it a mysterious renovation, which I love. It's not just a crack in the wall, it literally merges her living space.
And not just with one neighbor, right? I want to be clear on the geometry here.
She's flanked. It's a pincer movement of social awkwardness. Her apartment is compromised to the point where it connects with the units on both sides of her.
Wait, two neighbors? Simultaneously?
Simultaneous?
That's not just a zoning violation, that's a fire hazard. Who on earth approved these blueprints?
Narratively, though, you see what they're doing. It's a pressure cooker.
I mean, yeah.
Think about it. In a normal romance story, you have to work so hard to get the characters in the same room. You're always inventing reasons.
Oh, they accidentally bumped into each other at the coffee shop.
Oh, they got stuck in an elevator.
Right.
You have to manufacture that proximity. Here, the architecture does all the heavy lifting. The forced proximity trope is like cranked up to 11. Rinko literally cannot go home to escape the world.
Because the world is now sitting on her couch?
Yes. It just removes her ability to retreat and recharge.
And this being a rom-com, we can probably guess these aren't just any neighbors.
Yeah.
We're not merging apartments with like a sweet elderly couple who just knits all day.
That would be a very different and probably much shorter show.
A wholesome show, but not this one.
No, this is a romance anime. So, of course, the walls crumble to reveal two incredibly attractive, yet completely opposite men.
The classic setup. Okay, let's break them down. The neighbor on the left and the neighbor on the right.
All right, so on the left, you've got your classic prince archetype.
Yeah.
The sources describe him as charming, enigmatic, and kind.
He's the one who sees the hole in the wall and immediately offers to make tea.
Totally. That's his vibe. He represents safety, or at least the illusion of it. He's the calm in the storm.
That word enigmatic always makes me suspicious, though. It's code for he's definitely hiding something.
Probably. But in the middle of a crisis, you want the guy who makes tea.
Fair enough.
But then you look to the right.
And let me guess. The bad boy. The storm.
You got it. He's described as brooding, with a reputation for volatility. This is the guy who's annoyed that his wall is gone, annoyed that you exist, and probably annoyed that your fern exists.
So we have the angel and the devil on her shoulders, except they're actually her roommates now.
And it creates this immediate friction. But here's the real deep dive insight, I think.
Okay.
The show isn't just about who will she choose. It's about how this setup accelerates intimacy. Usually you learn about a partner's weird habits months into a relationship.
Like leaving socks on the floor or snoring.
Exactly. Rinko is learning all of that on day one because there are no walls.
She sees them at their absolute worst immediately.
There's no filter. But then there's a twist in the manga that really elevates it.
Ooh, okay.
Rinko starts to realize she isn't just meeting two random strangers. She thinks she might actually know the volatile neighbor from her past.
The past acquaintance trope. That changes everything.
It raises the stakes so much. Because if she knows him, does he know her?
And more importantly, which version of her does he know?
Does he know professional, buttoned-up Rinko? Or does he somehow know secret otaku Rinko?
That is terrifying. It's one thing to be exposed to a stranger you'll never see again. It's another thing entirely to be exposed to someone who holds a piece of your personal history.
It turns her entire apartment into a stage where she has to perform constantly, but the audience is right there with her. It's comedy gold.
It sounds exhausting for her, but amazing for us.
Okay, I want to pivot for a second.
Sure.
Something in the production notes really stood out. Usually we kind of gloss over theme songs unless it's a huge deal, but this one feels important.
Oh, it's a massive flex by the production committee. They are definitely aiming for very specific audience here.
The song is called C'est la vie. That's life, which is pretty fitting for a woman whose apartment just structurally collapsed. Walls gone, c'est la vie.
But it's the artist that caught my eye. Bullet Train. Or Chikdoki in Japanese.
Right. And for listeners who aren't deep in the J-pop world, calling Bullet Train a boy band is kind of underselling them. They're a main dancer, back vocal group. They are huge.
So getting them to do an anime theme is already a big deal. It's a crossover play.
For sure. It's meant to pull in a more mainstream audience that might not watch anime otherwise.
But it goes deeper than just the song, doesn't it?
It does. This is the really interesting part. Two of the members, Ryoga and Kai, are actually joining the voice cast.
See, that's where I get a little skeptical. Stunt casting. Is this just to sell albums, or can these guys actually act?
It's a valid concern. Usually when idols step into the recording booth, the Africo booth, the hardcore anime fans get nervous.
Because voice acting, say you work, is a really specialized skill in Japan. It's not just talking into a mic.
Not at all. It's about projection, timing, matching the animation flaps. You can't just act natural like in a live-action movie. It's a whole other craft.
So should we be worried about the quality?
You know, I don't think so. This trend of media mix, blurring the lines between idol culture and anime, has gotten a lot more sophisticated. The agencies don't just throw their stars into roles they can't handle anymore.
Okay.
What it tells us, though, is that the show is aiming for a very high-energy, very pop culture-savvy vibe. They want the energy of a live concert inside the show itself.
You don't hire Bullet Train for a quiet, introspective drama.
No.
You hire them for a show that's going to be loud.
Exactly. It reinforces that chaotic branding from top to bottom. It creates an all-star team feel, merging the music fans with the anime fans.
Speaking of the team, let's look at the engine room. The studio is Tatsunoko Production.
Legends. Absolute legends. I mean, this is the studio that gave us Speed Racer, Gotcha. They've been around since the 60s. Their pedigree is undeniable.
But they aren't just resting on that legacy. Looking at the staff list, there's a really interesting consolidation of power happening.
You're talking about the director?
Itsuki Imazaki. He's pulling double duty.
Triple duty, really. He's directing, but he's also handling series composition.
Which means he's writing the scripts. Is that common? I always feel like those are two different people arguing in a room.
It's not unheard of, but it's a very specific choice, especially in comedy.
Why comedy?
Because comedy is all about timing, the rhythm of a joke. If the director is also writing the script, the gag is going to land exactly how he hears it in his head. There's no translation lost between writer and director.
So the cut will be perfectly timed to the punchline.
It suggests we're in for a show with a very snappy, maybe even frantic pace.
Which fits the whole hole-in-the-wall panic perfectly.
It does, and he has help. Makoto Takada is co-writing, but Imazaki is the clear auteur here. And then you look at the character designs.
By Shinsuke Kikuchi. The sources called them whimsical.
Whimsical can mean a lot of things. It could mean weird, it could mean soft.
Yeah.
But in this context, combined with Imazaki's snappy style, I think it means elastic. You need character designs that can look beautiful in one scene.
A romantic moment in the moonlight.
And then completely distort into a ridiculous cartoon face when they walk in on their neighbor by accident.
The reaction face is the currency of anime comedy.
It is. And if the art is too rigid or realistic, the comedy just dies. It needs that bounce, and Tatsunoko knows how to deliver that.
So we have a legacy studio, an auteur director, pop star voice actors, and a nightmare renovation premise.
It's a package designed for pure entertainment. It's a popcorn show in the absolute best way. It's not trying to change the world.
It's trying to make you laugh at the absurdity of it.
Exactly.
But I want to go back to the source material for a minute.
The manga.
Yeah, because April 2026 is a long way off.
Yeah.
If I'm listening to this and I'm getting impatient, which I am, I want to know about this volatile neighbor's history right now. Where do I go?
Well, the good news for international listeners is that the manga by Wadamura is available on MangaPlaza. You don't have to wait or learn Japanese to read it.
So here's a question. Is there value in reading it before watching? Or does that spoil the comedy? I always worry that if I know the punchline, I won't laugh as hard.
That's a great question. I actually think comedy is one of the few genres where knowing the joke doesn't ruin it.
Really?
Yeah, I think it actually makes you appreciate the execution more. You can read the panel where the wall breaks, and it's funny on the page, but then you get to anticipate how the anime is going to do it.
How will the director time the sound effect? How will the voice actor deliver that scream?
It's like listening to a great cover of a song you love. You know the words, but you're excited to hear the new arrangement.
That's a great way to put it.
So if you read the manga now, you get to be the person in the group chat who gets to say, well, in the manga,
everyone loves that person.
Everyone tolerates that person, but they're informed, and you get to see how the anime team adapts the story, what they choose to speed up or slow down.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's zoom out. Who is this show actually for? Because Rom-Com is a really broad label.
I don't think this is for the high school drama crowd. I think this is specifically for the burnt-out millennial or Gen Z office worker demographic.
Ouch. I feel seen.
Well, hear me out. If you're watching these heavy prestige dramas all the time, Bear, Succession, sometimes you just need a palate cleanser.
Something low stakes.
The text calls this a delightful arena of surprises. The stakes aren't saving the world, they're avoiding social embarrassment, and that's relatable.
It's for the person who understands the very specific horror of an unexpected video call when you're still in your pajamas.
Yes. It validates that desire for a sanctuary.
Yeah.
It says, we know you just want to hide from the world, and we're going to show you the funniest possible version of failing to do that.
It's exposure therapy, but in anime form.
It is. It forces Rinko to confront the fact that she can't compartmentalize her life forever. Something's got to give.
You know, talking about this, it brings up a point that I honestly didn't expect to get to from a show called Pardon the Intrusion, I'm Home.
There's always philosophy in the funny if you look for it.
It's about the erosion of the private sphere.
Mm-hmm.
Rinko's walls come down physically, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're living in a time where our walls are coming down digitally all the time.
That's a great connection. We used to have work and home as two separate places. Now we've got Slack on our phones at 10 p.m. We've got Instagram stories showing everyone our breakfast.
The sanctuary is becoming an endangered species.
Totally. We're all kind of living in a metaphorical hole-in-the-wall situation. Rinko is fighting to keep her otaku self separate from her public self, but is that even possible anymore?
So maybe the show's argument is that the separation isn't healthy.
I think so. We'll have to watch to be sure, but maybe that renovation is actually a good thing in disguise.
You mean she needs to be exposed?
Think about it. Maybe hiding who you really are takes way more energy than just letting the neighbors see your anime figure collection. Maybe the romance can only work when the walls are gone. Maybe true intimacy actually requires that there are no walls to hide behind.
That is surprisingly profound for a show featuring a boy band.
I do what I can.
All right, so to recap for everyone grabbing their calendars, let's lock this in one more time.
The date is April 7, 2026.
The show is Pardon the Intrusion, I'm Home. Studio is Tatsunoko. Music by Bullet Train. And the premise is a structural engineering disaster that leads to a love triangle.
It's going to be loud, it's going to be colorful, and it's definitely going to make you very, very grateful for your own intact drywall.
Before we sign off, I want to leave you, our listener, with a challenge. We've been talking about Rinko's secret life, right?
The otaku side she protects at all costs.
Exactly. So here's the question for you. If the walls of your own home literally vanished right now, if you were suddenly merged with your neighbors, what is the one thing you would be most terrified of them seeing?
Is it the pile of laundry? Is it that weird playlist you're listening to? Or is it a hobby that you've told everyone you don't have time for, but you actually spend hours on every night?
Think about that. And maybe, just maybe, go check the structural integrity of your living room wall tonight.
Can't be too careful.
Thanks for deep diving with us into the chaotic world of Rinko and her neighbors. We'll catch you on the next one.